We're going to call this meeting to order. As you can see, we're a little sparse right now. We have two board members that are en route. And then we have three board members that unfortunately will not. Oh, one of our board members is here. Welcome. Yeah, you get that. And we should have our board member Cardi coming soon. Unfortunately, board member Flores, Frost, and Armistead are not able to be with us today, but with Cardi, member Party, we should have a quorum. So we'll go ahead and begin. And we will have our Spanish interpretation. So that will be available for the board meeting for those viewing online. There. Se dispondrá de interpretación simultánea del inglés al español durante la reunión del Consejo de Educación para quienes la estén viendo por internet. And then we will go on to the Pledge of Allegiance. So if I could all have you stand, your right hand, and be ready. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with And so our next item are changes to the agenda, which we do not have any changes to the agenda. So we will continue on with president and board comments. So if anyone on the board would have, if you have any comments? Okay, well, I have some comments. I just wanted to mention that on Thursday, December 18th, myself and Superintendent Solcito were able to tour both Dos Pueblos and San Marcos high schools, which are in my trustee area. And I believe that when we go to the schools, it's always time well spent. We get to see the dedication and strategic thought and care that goes into the educators and administrators, and we get to see how that's reflected in the students. So when we were at Dos Pueblos, we were toured by Principal Bill Woodard. We got to see the media center, and all the students were really dialed in. It felt like a professional broadcasting office, and they were preparing for annual award ceremony. And so that was really exciting to see. We also were able to see a college prep capstone presentation for all of the English classes. And so it was really enlightening to see all the students engaged and excited to share their work there. Then at San Marcos, we were toured by Principal Pierre Holdreth, and we were able to see the Entrepreneur Academy directed by Graham Olson, and seeing the partnerships locally and the real work experience that the students were having, and then also learned more about their healthcare pathways that they're starting with their health coordinator, Emily Stokes, and ended with the visit to the Apple Leadership Academy. So just reminded us of all the unsung heroes that pour themselves into their students, and the amazing work that happens every day that, flies under the radar that we don't often see. So looking forward to some more school visits. That is my long comment. And so now we have the pleasure of a presentation by Adelante Charter School, and Executive Director Javier Bolillar and Learning Innovative Specialist Holly Gill will provide a presentation. I will hand it over to Superintendent Salcido to take it.
Thank you to the board for this opportunity to present Adelante Charter School here, and a happy new year to you and to all. Happy New Year. It's really wonderful to see you all here. Yes, very, very excited to ask Javier and Director Bolivar and our their learning specialist, Holly Gill, to the podium. If you want to come on up and join us, we'd love to have you so I can speak about you while you're right here in the room. Wanted to say that board member Mary Beth Cardy and I Cami Barnwell, as well as Bridget Boblets at that time, we were able to go visit Adelante on December 9th. And just as you were sharing, Madam Chair, about visits, you can just, there's something about talking about it, there's something about hearing and seeing presentations, and there's something about being there. It's very, very special. It is a very small footprint. Adelante Charter has a small footprint in terms of facility, but a giant, huge, magnificent impact in terms of a footprint in other ways. Two items that came forward for me and for us, I know Mary Beth Carty would say the same. One is from the second we arrived to the minute we left, all of this was about teaching and learning. All of it. Everything that we saw, everything that we did, everything that we talked about was around the teaching and learning that's happening over time and over the years with strategy. It's truly impressive. And the second item that we heard about and saw about was about the arts. So much emphasis on the arts and culture at Adelante. So while we were there, we said, oh gosh, we'd love for you to come and speak at the board meeting and present and share some of this incredible work. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, starting with the video here.
Adelante is a very special school. Adelante Charter means hard work, resilience, equity. It also means preserving heritage.
When my kids walk on this campus, I feel so much trust that my kids are going to have a wonderful educational experience, and they're going to have fun, and they're going to be in a safe environment and a place where kindness is really emphasized.
It is a place where students have the opportunity to be themselves, learn about their identity, community, culture is celebrated.
Adelante was recognized as a California Distinguished School. It's a special gem in our community. It's a place where I got to see my kids grow and learn in ways I never could imagine possible. It's the true meaning of embodying the importance of language, of valuing biculturalism, biliteracy, bilingualism. It allows children to feel pride in the language of their families.
My kids have really embraced the Latino part of their identity, that awareness here at Adelante, cultivating that awareness, that critical consciousness has served them so well. We have teacher leaders. They're leading, they're growing, they're always learning. Learning happens in different ways, and we're trying to meet the needs of all students.
To look on this school and to think about where we started and where it's come to is like a dream come true.
When you feel that you are part of your school, and then you do well, tienes que saber de dónde vienes para saber a dónde vas.
We see the success of the children doing really well academically. Sin Adelante, after 25 years, an example of si se puede, yes you can, we did it.
That's the footprint.
That's a footprint.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't think I need a mic. Hello, thank you so much for having us here. I am Javier. I'm the principal, the very proud principal Adelante Charter. This is my 5th year as principal. I came right after the pandemic, and we just imagine how that was, coming to a new school and assessing and learning about the new school. It was a very difficult job, a very nice job, and I was very lucky to be able to find all in that place that helped me to implement and do all of these that we have achieved. And this is for you.
So our mission is, the mission of Adelante Charter School is to develop biliterate, multicultural students whose strong academic and cultural foundations prepare them to meaningfully participate and provide leadership in their families, their community, and their world to create a more just and equitable society. And that has been the mission since we were Cesar Chavez Charter School. This was 25 years that we've just celebrated this last year. And just to give a little context, if you're not familiar with dual language models, We serve kindergarten through sixth grade, and we're a 90-10 model. So that means that in kindergarten and first grade, 90% of the instruction is in Spanish. So only about an hour a day, maybe a little bit less, is in English. And then that Spanish instruction decreases while English instruction increases. You can see there on the graph. And our students are tested with state testing starting in third grade. And in third grade, 70% of their day is in Spanish, only 30% in English. And then it isn't until fifth and sixth grades that it's 50-50. But still, half their day is taught in Spanish. And all of our math is taught in Spanish.
So basically what happened during my first year was that we had a puzzle that was on the ground, and we started putting that puzzle together. We just had different pieces, and we put the puzzle together, and Holly, myself, and all the teachers, we kind of put in a direction on this is the growth that we have had in the last 5 years. And I never seen in any of my 28 years career, I never seen this kind of growth. This is the growth that all principals wish to have before retirement. Is kind of going all the way. I was telling Holly a few minutes ago, God, we set that bar so high. We didn't go from the 20 to the 30 to the 40 to the 50. We just jumped right to 52 and 58%, and we are setting the bar so high. Are we going to be able to maintain it? Well, that's what we are working for. As you can see, we are a school of English learners. More than 43% of our students are English learners. Socioeconomically disadvantaged, almost 72%. Homeless, 9%. And students with disability, we are at about 14% right now. However, with all of that, we have been able to put that puzzle together and bring what our teachers and our families needed to be now in a school of real success. This is a story of success that we are telling you right now.
And we're outperforming the county, we're outperforming the state right now. This is showing in 24, 25 in ELA on the left-hand side, math on the right-hand side. And you can see that over the last 2 years, we've been outperforming in both. And again, we're doing this while we are also teaching the majority of our day in Spanish until fifth and sixth grade, where it's half the day in Spanish and half the day in English. And all of our math is taught in Spanish basic. This is showing the trajectory of our English learners, and this mirrors what we see in research. You see that dip last year, and this is something that I was working with folks here at the county, reaching out to CDE. We had students who were, a large number of students who were reclassified, and for whatever reason, when the results came out, they pulled them out of the English learner subgroup, even though they weren't reclassified until May, but they took the test earlier. So anyway, that's where that little dip is. But when we look at the research, Thomas and Collier research, I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but it's like 40 years of research, millions of students, that really shows that it takes 5 to 7 years for students to acquire proficiency in another language. And typically you see these lower results in elementary school, especially early elementary school, and then they start to take off. And we're really seeing that with our English learners. We exist for our English learners, and it's exciting to see that this model is really working for them. So how do we do it?
Yeah, we, like, again, I want to name the puzzle. This is what we did. We analyzed, we assessed, and okay, this is what we're going to bring to our school. This is the support that our teachers need. This is the support that our families need. So we started our own model of instructional rounds. I got a lot of experience with instructional round in my previous district in Ventura County. So we are doing an instructional round just for our school, and it's our team. Our own teachers are going and they are visiting their colleagues. So everybody is kind of exposed to visitors and to have their colleagues see what you are doing and what we are doing as a team, because ultimately, this is what is going to help everybody, the entire team. Also, the common core in Spanish, we were making sure that our teachers who are teaching primary language Spanish, they really know the Spanish, the standards, and they really know how to teach that. So we brought a person from California, Island, a great friend of mine, Dr. Jimenez, and he was working with each one of those teachers individually and by grade level to make sure that they understand the Spanish common core. Also, the grade level standard, oral instruction is standard-based. Oral instruction, our teachers have been working with the standards in their side every time they are planning, working with Holly during PLC, and ELD has been a great thing. I also brought up the first year I came, we said we're not going to waste time, and I brought an expert, and we did some ELD, and our teachers were learning about the ELD, using the ELD, and they're opening their classroom to their colleagues who came and they observed lesson, and all of that was happening. And also we kind of took our parent education to a whole new level where we have, and I think we have another slide with that, but our parents were also knowing and learning about what are the standards that the students need to learn. We actually have been investing a lot of time and resources in making sure that our parents are understanding all of what is important for the kids to succeed.
And the county, the folks here at the county, all of you who work here, I just feel so grateful for the support that we've received from the county office. And we've really taken advantage of it. I think all of you here know that. And I feel so grateful that you're here to cheer us on and to listen to our presentation as well. Another thing that we've implemented is multi-tiered systems of support. And we just want to have the resources there, the support there for any student who needs it when they need it. And that has been a process of building over time. But in terms of literacy, whether it's Spanish, English, both, math, social emotional support, we really try to have all of that there for the student and not have some long, lengthy process to get to that. We've also focused on teaching expected behaviors and holding students to high standards. Still with lots of love and joy and care. And like Susan said, we have a very small footprint. Javier likes to say we have the smallest playground in America. But we don't have issues and conflicts really with kids. We have kids who really do care and show kindness to each other.
We have maintained a 0% patient rate. We don't send students home. Our students they behave and they respect each other. Sometimes, there are little kids, we have some issues, especially in the soccer field, but it's a big culture of friendship and understanding and respecting each other. And like I said before, we are empowering the families too. We have taken the what is commonly known as ELAC or DLAC. We renamed it EBAC, American Bilingual Advisory Committee. And I just told one of the teachers that was on the video, Maestra Rodriguez, who's been a founder of the school, I would say, you know what, we really need to have a very functioning EBAC over here. We need to make sure that we educate our parents. Our parents need to be participants of the kids' education. And she just started with that message as she has taken EBAC to a whole different level where we have every single month, at least in one single school, at least 40 families attending. And if we are organizing any kind of workshops or any kind of class for our parents, we have about 100 families coming every month for those meetings. And it's something that I have never seen. When I was in Oxford, we celebrated it. We had 3 families in the back, and I'm not exaggerating. And this is something that is being really amazing. Our parents just submitted application to be CABE presenters, and we have parents presenting in the next CABE in San Francisco. Our parents go to CABE in Riverside, they go to CABE in other places, in Bakersfield, we are sending those parents, they are super engaged with their kids' education and understanding what it takes, not just to send. They send our Latino families, I'm Latino, I grew up in a Latino family, and they make sure that they send their kids every day to school, and they tell the kids, you need to behave. I don't want to get a phone call from the teacher, but also we are taking those parents to a different level where they understand what it means to be an educated person. And like Dr. Salcido mentioned, I come from a background in arts. I am a musician. I used to play for symphony orchestras and opera orchestra. My own child is an actor, and I have supported arts in Adelante. We have one of the best programs that you can imagine in the country in art for being a school of poverty, a school of English learners. We have this amazing program. We have dance classes, we have music classes, we have a full PE program and a very beautiful art program, and our kids participating in musical. We have a full grown musical program every year where every year we have in the last 5 years, we have Lion King, we have Aladdin, we have all of that. This year is gonna be Beauty and the Beast and a kids audition, and they go through all that process of auditioning for the musical and studying the script, studying the lines. Of course, there is always a painful thing because know all of them, but they go, that's what performing is about. No all performing artists can get into a symphony, into a musical, and they go through that thing too on not being hard because 90 kids audition, but only 40 can be accepted. So we have all of that, and the performances that we have every year are just out of this planet. We have an amazing group of teachers who take care of that, of putting those musicals together with a full audio visual and experience for our students. And it's actually, besides the talent shows where all half of the school want to participate and singing and dancing, and now we are also using some people call it forensics, some other people call it speech and debate. We're implementing our own program, and we are calling it Take the Stage. They take the stage. We're calling it where the kids are memorizing and they're analyzing passages and making interpretation. That's what we are doing this year.
So that's really difficult to visualize. So we just have a little less than 2-minute clip of our performing arts, little clips of the things that we do that just happen all the time at Adelante. And we would love to have you come and visit anytime. And you're always welcome to these performances as well. This is our Dia de los Muertos celebration. Every class performs. And our winter, the cafeteria, auditorium. There's always a full house performance. Music, dance, performing arts, along with an art show. The recorder, I know. Third graders. Our first graders. So everything's done. All of the musicals are done bilingually as well.
Thank you. This is Adelante. Thank you so much.
We feel so honored to be.
Oh, thank you so very much.
Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So gathering you're a school of choice. Kids from all over the county can come to Adelante.
Yes, we have a student, we have a lottery system that takes place in November. And then a student from all Santa Barbara, Goleta, even Ventura, Ohio. We have a few of them who come all the way over here to be in Adelante, and we have a lottery for kindergarten. We only accept students in kindergarten, and if we have some spots open in first grade or second grade, it's hard for us to fill it up because we need to make sure that the kids is either bilingual or is being in a bilingual school in the past. So, but the lottery is only for kindergarten.
Okay.
And kindergarten, it doesn't matter. We take a third of students who are bilingual, a third who are Spanish only, and a third who are English only. So we have that combination.
Okay. So I noticed 43% are English learners, so 57% are not.
Exactly. And 50-something% are not English learners. They come from their homes, and their parents fill out their home language survey, and they say that the first language of the child is English, and they are counted as English and only students.
And those families have an interest, obviously, in their students becoming bilingual.
Exactly.
Okay.
Many
And
of-
it's
many
K
of the
through 8,
families are Latin.
K6.
K6. And where do most of those students go once they leave Adelante?
Santa Barbara Junior High, they go, the majority of them.
Okay.
Some others, we have the two students from Ventura who, of course, their family took them to Anacapa, which is also a dual dimensional school, and they go to Anacapa for after 6th grade. And some others who, if they live in Goleta, then they take it to the junior high over here, depending on, when they are bigger, depending on transportation and all of that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that presentation. It's really inspiring to see how you really address the whole child. So you have the cultural, you have the arts, and then the core competency in terms of the curriculum. So I have one question. How can I be invited to the musical?
I will make sure that you get invited to the musical for sure. It's a great experience. You can come and visit anytime. We love visitors, and as you may suspect, I like talking a lot, and I love when I have visitors, and I like to really show and be proud of what we have in the school. It's a small school with a super big heart, the community and all of that. Our kids are always dancing. You can come any day and you're gonna see them dancing or singing or doing anything art related. I really support the arts, and I like it. I think it's very important. And the school, or I didn't implement that. That was already part of the school. What I have done is I'm trying to enhance it and really make sure that the teachers and the staff is supported. But Holly and I are going to make sure that you are invited for the musical. The rehearsal for the musical next Wednesday.
I'm hoping to make some final remarks.
Dr.
If that's
Sartino is going to be one of the trees. She already say that.
Well, that would be wonderful, because I saw the Lion King that you were sharing, and my daughter was tree number 4 in the production. So if I could be a tree also, lovely. I wanted to say thank you so very much. And Javier, you were talking about liking to talk, and honestly, I think we all love to hear what you both have to share. Holly, thank you, both of you, for acknowledging our curriculum and instruction team. And I wanted to, who they are. I wanted to introduce, not by name or anything like that, but just so that the board knows that we have our SBCEO C&I Curriculum and Instruction Division very well represented today. Would you mind raising your hand if you're part of our C&I team? Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Who supports our many districts and charter schools, including Adelante. But thank you. The C&I team, apparently you're experts in the recorder. I heard at a division meeting. I think some of you might have played recorder, so you might not only have trees but musicians for another production. But thank you. We presented Adelante Charter with a certificate from the board and the county office when we visited. And I said to them, we didn't greet them with a replicate today, but I know that you have it, and it comes from all of us to you in appreciation for all that you're doing for all the students in your Adelante community. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know we have people exiting as well. Yeah. Hi. Entourage. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Although we have a wonderful another presentation. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Yes. Thank you for really.
So now, Peter's point, I'm going to have a presentation by the team, collaborative highways and high demand, their pathways,
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
John Leopold. And I'll also start with Susan's Superintendent Salcido.
Oh, thank you so much. And I thank you, John, for approaching the podium. Isaac Castro is also here in the audience. I can't see you, but I know we can see you. There we go. Perfect. The Southern Region Coordinator for the Central Coast K-16 Regional Collaborative, who works alongside John. And Sarah Cameron, whom you've met before, right back here, our Director of Career Technical Education, who's part of the strategic planning group here with the K-16 Collaborative as our designee, is also here in support. We wanted you to hear about this. SBCO is a part of it. And so, John, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Superintendent Salcido, and the members of the board. Thanks for having me here. My name is John Leopold. I'm the director of the Central Coast K-16 Regional Collaborative. And I've been trying to reach out to all of our county office partners, our collaborative is a 6-county collaborative from Santa Cruz to Ventura. And all of our county offices of education are represented on our board. And I would say that Santa Barbara is well represented. Not only was the superintendent involved in the earliest discussions of this collaborative, but Sarah Cameron is a member of our steering committee. We only have 4 K-12 districts represented on our board. One of them is a Santa Barbara school, Santa Maria, and one of our co-chairs is from Allen Hancock College. So Santa Barbara is in leadership with our group. So what are we doing? Coming out of COVID, Governor Newsom invested in 2 major efforts. One was K-16 collaboratives and the other California Jobs First, which focused on economic development. When our group started meeting back in, I think, 2022, they wanted to figure out how to use these resources to make a difference in the lives of students on the Central Coast. There are about 500,000 students that take classes along the Central Coast. And when the group took a look at what they saw for educational outcomes, they saw that there were persistent educational and economic inequalities in the region, and that Hispanic or Latino students were underrepresented in post-secondary enrollments. And you can see by this chart that they make up 65% of the students in high school, but only 28% at 4 universities. And so our collaborative chose to use an equity-driven model, a collective impact model, and to see if we could move the needle and build career pathways for socially economically disadvantaged students to move into high-wage, high-impact jobs. What's one of the things that's unique about our collaborative is that the RK16 collaborative includes K-12 schools, community colleges, and 4-year universities, as well as industry. And the idea of all these entities working together seems simple, but yet kind of hard. There are lots of partnerships that go on here. K-12 with community colleges, 4 years with community college. There's all sorts of dual partnership, but to get everybody working together and to form what we consider strong intersegmental partnerships where there's real connections that are actual rather than aspirational connections to help students move along this career path is is different. And we're trying to encourage these kind of connections so students can navigate their way through post-secondary education and onto high-wage jobs. We have three key goals. One is we're working to increase the alignment of our educational programs. And as I just mentioned, it seems pretty straightforward, but not always easy. We wanted to disrupt the inequitable systems and structures that are in our institutions. When you look at the data that we showed in the first slide, you can see that the system doesn't necessarily work for everyone. And so when we look at what we're doing, we set some equity standards about the schools that we would work with to ensure that the resources that we had really helped those socioeconomically disadvantaged students. Lastly, we came, excuse me, we are seeking to build our work on the student's strength, assets, their rich cultural and linguistic traditions. So not come from a deficit model, but figure out what we can do. As we saw with the last school, you know, the building on the culture rather than seeing that as a drawback is really what is going to be successful along the Central Coast. The other part that we did is we looked at labor market data to try to identify high wage, high impact jobs. And after looking at the data, we chose two different career areas. One was engineering and computer science, and the other is healthcare. And when you look at the labor market information and data for the Central Coast, you can see that these jobs pay well if you finish college, and there's a lot of jobs, especially in healthcare. And so you can just see here on the left-hand side of the slide what the income level would be for Hispanic workers who don't finish college but are working in these industries, and the others who do finish college. It's a significant difference, and we know this is not an inexpensive place to live. So we have focused our career pathways on these two areas. To do that, we worked to allocate $9.8 million to schools, districts, colleges, universities throughout the Central Coast region. We are supporting 10 different career pathways focused on engineering and computer science and healthcare, several here in Santa Barbara County. Santa Barbara has been a great recipient of funds, receiving $2.6 million, of which K-12 schools received $1.6 million of that money. Overall, we're working with 50 different institutions and over 30 employers in new or expanding intersegmental partnerships. In addition to that money that we put into pathways, we also use some additional money from the state to fund paid work-based learning opportunities here in Santa Barbara County. So it's another $78,000. There's more than that in the pathway, but when we got some extra money, we put all the money in for students. This is a pictorial representation of one of those pathways. This is an advanced manufacturing pathway. And I just want to give credit to Sarah Cameron, who's played a leadership role in helping organize these institutions to create this pathway. One that our California Jobs First partner has identified as a high need area. Advanced manufacturing is definitely something that almost every economic report for the Central Coast says that we need students to be trained to be able to move into these jobs. There's a lot of these jobs, and they pay well. And as you can see, the high school, so this map that we created was influenced by focus groups that we did with parents and students to find out what it is would be useful for them in choosing a pathway. Because career laddering and career pathways is not new. It's been going on for at least 2 decades. And if you look out there, there are beautifully sophisticated career pathway maps in lots of institutions. But if you're looking for at families who English may not be their first language or don't have higher education experience, sophisticated maps also sometimes create barriers for them understanding what's in the map. And so we did simultaneously translated workshops with parents and students, and they told us pretty clearly what they wanted. They didn't want acronyms. You know, we love acronyms in education, as in most professions. They didn't like acronyms. They wanted to know what students would do in each level of these programs, rather than what degree they would get. And they wanted to know what kind of student supports there were and what kind of work-based learning opportunities there were. And lastly, they wanted to know what the job opportunities were and how much they get paid. And so if you look at the right-hand side of this chart, you can see the kind of jobs that if someone moved through this pathway, they could graduate into, and how much they might be able to make and how many jobs are available. On the bottom corner, you can also see the kind of partners that we have for this pathway, and the QR codes that you see at the bottom of this map all linked to the guidance counselors at their schools, because now there's no one map that's going to give everybody the information. We want them to be talking to a professional at their high school or college. And this is in some ways a teaser. We want them to become interested, saying, yes, I want to do those things. I want to build that. I want to do those kind of activities. I want that kind of job. And then talk with their counselors about what classes they need to take. One of the things that I'll talk about in a moment is how we do it. But in addition to what you see on this map, we have worked to support lots of different ways to support students along this pathway. So in addition to paid work-based learning, there's all sorts of tutoring support. In some places, we've offered transportation assistance. We paid for dual enrollment courses. We tried to figure out different ways to make sure that students are successful in these pathways. But now that we've funded these pathways, our work is continuing. This January, we have is one of our biannual data collection periods. This will be an important one for us because this will be our first year after funding, and we start seeing to see whether we've started moving the needle in some places with the investments that we made. We do have an online dashboard of our data that if you go to our website, you can look at by the educational level, by the pathway, by demographics, to get a better sense of what's going on in the region. The other area that we're very excited about is we're launching a major effort that we call the Central Coast Masters for Educators program. This is a program that we're going to be starting this year where we're investing over $1 million to help high school teachers get their single subject master's degree so they can teach dual enrollment in our high schools. One of the things that we saw as we funded these pathways is that there was a very uneven use of dual enrollment. And we know that students who get college credit in high school are much more likely to go to college. And so we have some great programs, but it's very uneven. And so we want to make sure that every school district has the trained staff, the certificated staff that will be able to partner with their community college in order to teach these college level courses while they're still in high school. So we'll be doing a lot of work, and we'll be working with the Santa Barbara County Education Office to help ensure that Santa Barbara County teachers are eligible for this program. Lastly, we're working to build community partnerships over this next year to extend the reach. Our schools are great partners, and the schools that we work with here in Santa Barbara have been really fantastic. But there are some people who aren't maybe reached by the schools, and so are there community organizations or other methods that we can reach into communities to let people know about these pathways, families know about these pathways. And so we'll be doing more of that work here in the next year. So I don't have any videos. There's no Lion King in this, but we wanted to share this information with you. I do want to again recognize the county office and their work, especially Sarah, who's not only been helpful to our collaborative specifically, but she's also worked very hard to support all the high school districts that are in our collaborative. And if there's ever any issues, Sarah is right there to be able to provide support to help those school districts rather than leaving anybody behind. And so that's greatly appreciated, and it's really helpful when you're doing this kind of effort. Isaac Castro is our Southern Region Coordinator. He works directly with the school districts, and so you can talk with people personally instead of me. I'm based in Santa Cruz. That's all I have for you. I want to see if you have any questions about the work that we've done or the work that we'll be doing in the coming year.
Always question.
You start.
So this is great. Yeah, glad to know you exist. Are you connected to the UC system? Who's funding you?
So it's funded by the state of California.
Okay.
And this regional group includes we have 2 UCs in the 6 counties, Santa Cruz and Santa Barbara. We have 8 community college districts, and we are working with 38 K-12 districts. And we chose to have an equity standard that the schools that we were working with, they have to have at least 55% of the students have to be on free or reduced lunch, or homeless or foster youth. Most of the schools in the region who qualify for that are much higher numbers. But $10 million seems like a lot of money until you divide it up at 6 counties and 50 institutions. So we decided to focus on the school districts with the highest need and the most socially economically disadvantaged students. We chose an allocation system that was not competitive but collaborative. The 3 partners, we required that the K-12 district, community college, and 4-year university come in together, and that if they came in together, they were guaranteed funding, and then we had an equity allocation based on a base funding, and then there were equity allocations based on the size of the student body and what the unduplicated count was for free or reduced lunch, et cetera.
I'm sure you said it, that guaranteed funding for what?
Well, to support these career pathways that we created.
Yeah,
So
whatever that means, right?
yeah, so we didn't. If the partners came in, what we were trying to assess is, did they have actual strong, or were they committed to forming strong intersegmental partnerships? So we don't want a high school to offer classes to introduce students to healthcare careers. We want a dual enrollment course so that student is earning college credit towards their. So that's moves it from the aspirational, like we hope that they go to college and learn about health, to earning credit while they're in high school that will hopefully get them to college.
Let me just say that I'm sort of don't not be. I would definitely be on your website tonight. So I'm relatively new to the sport, but not new to education and the challenges in education. This gives me hope from the standpoint of, so the question I've been asking a lot this past year is, why does it feel like education is not a priority to the state of California? And then I hear something like this and I go, well, okay, this group seems to be really focused and talking about things. But it is a concern. I mean, given who we are in the nation, how it is that we're not in the top 5 in everything. I'm as much as I think I know about education, as much as I've been around, I don't understand that one. So I'd love to just.
Well, I mean, I think that one of the things that we're trying to do, and what, if you look at the governor's report on career education, is that we have a lot of silos, you know, and what K-12 does is great, and what community colleges does is great. I'm a former community college trustee, and what the 4-year universities I work with them, I'm based at a university. But too often, and we found this as we work this, because getting people to agree to be a pathway, that's a first step, and that was helpful. But getting them to align their courses, so this, you know, if we're trying to move the needle and move students who haven't historically gone to college, now we want them to go to college or university, you have to work to really align the system, because anybody who's had a student or has gone through the post-secondary education knows that it's a labyrinth. And there are lots of places where you run into obstacles, where you got to go back to the start, where you got to, And so what we're trying to do is get everybody to align so the students have a clearer shot to the end. So there's a pathway, for instance, that we have in San Benito County that kids are going to start taking college level courses in their sophomore year in high school. And when they graduate, because it's a rural school district, they're far away from everything. And so when they graduate high school, 2 more years at CSU Monterey Bay, then they have a mechatronics degree, which is a very useful degree in tech these days. And so there's a greater likelihood that that student will actually get that mechatronics degree because they've earned enough college credit. So we're trying to figure out creative ways to make that happen. And, you know, I appreciate what the governor's has funded and talked about and the reports have made clear that we need to work together. I know that in career education, there are a couple different streams of funding. Sarah's got to fill out multiple applications every year to get funding from the Golden State Pathway Program, from the CTIG program, from the K-12 Strong Workforce Program. Not as often with the K-16. We made it a little bit easier. But we're now trying to get all these programs to work together. So we've formed a partnership with Golden State Pathway Program, their technical assistance center. So now all the GSPP programs meet with our regional leadership groups. We're trying to get everybody to work together, to row together. We're also working with the Community College Consortium who give out the K-12 strong workforce programs to better align what they're doing with what we're doing. So it's maddening for school districts, the kind of data that they need to create and the things they need to track for all the different funding sources. And if there's a way for entities to work together, so they can focus on providing the education rather than simply documenting the education, that will we think stronger programs. Hope that answers at least.
Yeah, that helped me. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leopold, for coming and making this presentation. Similar to Board Member Walker, just really understanding and having hope and inspiration about how these pathways are connecting education, also building down these silos to make it possible is encouraging. A couple questions that I have there been any considerations on the proliferation of AI and how that's impacting white collar jobs and how that in the creation of pathway development for the consortium?
Yeah, some of the pathways have elements that are really looking at AI for some of our tech pieces. I also know that the Strong Workforce Program has that as a requirement that they look at least in the Bay Area, I think here in South Central as well, to incorporate something around AI as part of their pathways. Clearly, something better or worse, I'll let someone else decide. That students need to be educated about it and learn how to use it and figure out how it's going to support their future career aspirations. Because we all know that the student who took a coding program 15 years ago, that job won't exist in 3 years, and you have to figure out how they can maintain their critical skills to be successful in the workplace because it changes so often.
How do students become a part of the program? So when you're looking at the partners and the educational agencies that are part of it, how do you actually get students to participate?
Well, that's the high schools and the community colleges do the recruitment, and the strength of the pathway hopefully is an incentive for students to be involved. Some of what we funded is also educational evenings, family engagement nights, visits to employers or colleges or universities to help educate community members and their families and students about what the opportunities are for them. And so that's the other part. We want to work with community partners to, again, extend that reach. So we are hopefully getting deep into communities rather than just having something that's broadly spread. We want it to go deep in order to make it work. And so one of the things we talk about in our regional leadership meetings is what kind of recruitment's going on. And one of the things we'll be looking for in our data is to get a sense of who's in these pathways, because we know that the career pathways have been going on but when you look at who's involved, who persists, who graduates, there is a very clear demographic breaks there. And so what we're trying to do is shift that a little bit to make it more equal. And that's the challenge.
Right. Awesome. And one last question, sorry. And then I noticed the information for the different demographics in the school and the students, and how do African American students fit within the program and the metrics for the consortium?
Well, I pointed out in the earlier slide about Hispanic or Latino students, but we are not allowed to only limit our activity to one race. So we have this umbrella of socially economically disadvantaged students. So whatever race or ethnicity, we're going to serve those students. The schools that we work with have a higher percentage of those students. And so we collect the demographic data on them. I can't remember off the top of my head where we see, Monterey County, we see a larger African-American population than we do in, let's say, Santa Cruz County or San Benito County. And I just don't remember what the statistics are off the top. But if you look at if you go to our website and you can go to the data dashboard, it'll tell you specifically.
Any other things? Well, thank you so much for this presentation, answering all of our questions. I know we had a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I look forward to continue working with the county education office, especially as we do this dual enrollment Masters for Educators program. And I want to express my thanks also to Superintendent Salcido, who, as I say, was early involved with this and has been a great supporter of ours. So thank you.
Okay. Alrighty, so now we'll go to the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to start with the first paragraph that I wrote in the report, which is that January is the board recognition month. And I wanted to take a moment to express my thanks to each of you for all that you do to support not only your trustee area, not only the county education office, myself and team, but the entire county's children and families and educators. What you do by your support, by being here, by making decisions, by your attention, your good questions, your great thinking, your perspectives. That is support, and you do that and so much more. And you're a part of a body that is essential for public education. And I want to say thank you. Thank you very, very much for all that you do.
You're welcome and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a few updates for you beyond what's in the report today. One, a chief technology officer. We had talked about a CTO for many months now, and through Steve Torres and the Human Resources Division and many others, we now have hired Brandon Weber to join us. He's a CTO right now, Chief Technology Officer in Lancaster School District, and will be starting in the week of January 19th, right after Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. So really excited to have him on board, and we'll of course introduce you. One other thing, you all completed an ethics training, as did I. And when I did that, I thought, I want to remind our board about something. And it just really was, it's not anything that anyone did, but it was just a good reminder as I was going through this training. We've been talking a lot about conferences that we've been going, some conferences we're thinking about traveling to. And occasionally when we go to conferences, there are sponsored events that happen, sponsored dinners and things like that. So just wanted to remind you to, when you are hosted at a dinner, you want to mark that down somewhere on your calendar, because when the Form 700 comes back around again, you'll want to mark that as long, if it's $50 or more.
Mm.
I say that because it's just something that we're talking about. So it's really important for you to mark, okay? Then let's go to today. Today, the governor provided his state of the state address. All of us were probably in meetings and didn't get a chance to hear it or digest it. And I'm still processing it myself. But I say that because it'll be coupled with tomorrow, the governor's proposed budget. So you have the state of the state and then a proposed budget. And so I share with you only some top level, high level summary type of items so that when you're reading from the different listservs that you are part of, you're going to see what some people are categorizing as record education investments. So more investment in education. So a positive forward area than a backward area goes right to what Board Member Walker was just addressing. So you're going to hear about more investments in education. In fact, I think there was a higher than previously forecasted budget, higher at a rate of $42 billion is what they are saying. So there's that. The other piece that I think is really intriguing, I am, again, processing it. I'm actually considering what I think is favorable and what I think might be some pros and cons, has to do with this shift in education governance at the state level. So in education governance, you often hear about the governor, you hear about the State Board of Education, you hear about the California Department of Education, and you'll hear about the State Superintendent of Public Instruction. All four of these entities have a say in terms of how education is rolled out in California. There are shifts happening right now, and you're going to hear about them as you hear about the budget, as you hear about the governor's state of the state. He is considering, or the state is considering having the CDE move under the governor, the state superintendent having different sort of governance than they do now, having the state board run the CDE. So it's a shift. And I say all that to you rather than say what I think about it yet now. So I was saying I'm still processing my own pros and cons, is I wanted you to heighten the awareness for you. So as you're reading it, as you see about it, learn about it, know that that's new. It's new. It just got released today. It's backed up by studies and research, but the announcement came today. And now people are going to start unpacking. What would that mean? So I'd rather not editorialize right now about it, but just to share that with you.
Susan, can I just ask you, so this is something that obviously was proposed and has already been passed by the state legislature, or?
No, it's just being posed, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And in fact, one of the questions, Mr. Walker, is whether or not any of these proposed changes in governance need legislative changes. Because, and that's a question. So again, I'm not going to editorialize. I just don't know enough yet about it. But what I do know is that there have been proposed changes for many years in many different election cycles to potentially not have our state superintendent be an elected official. That's just been thought about in the past, and it never passed. It's always been an elected official. But that would need to have legislative changes in order to change that role. But these other changes that are being proposed, I think, may not need legislative changes, and that's something to lean into as well. Okay. So any other questions on what I just gave an update on? Wanted to really heighten the awareness more than anything. All right. Well, I understand that celebrating little and big things are really important. This is neither little nor big. I'll just say that tomorrow is Guy Walker's birthday, so I should celebrate that. Celebrate that and say happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
I didn't know that. Oh my God.
Should we sing to you too?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know what? I apologize. Yeah, and again, this, and I don't know if there's much to say on this, Susan. Did I just read here something federal funding, small rural schools, California, some money. Who's that going to? Who's that affecting Central Coast?
Yes. And I might prompt Steve and Nicole to help me with this one as well, but I'll start speaking about it. Actually, there's rural funding that in the county does receive some. And it has to do with being connected with, I believe, with Los Padres Forest, but I could be wrong here. And if I'm correct about this, we actually annually bring up the revenue to the board each year so that you can see. But can you fill in any more on that one with specifics, Nicole or Steve? Or should we come back to that one?
Yeah, and if not, we can reserve for next time. So that's something that caught my attention that.
Yeah, it's the Forest Preserve Funds, which are a calculation that's allocated to us at the county level, and we distribute it to the districts according to the square footage of their district that resides in the Forest Preserve area and the number of students attending that live in that area. And so it's two calculations, and we combine them to distribute those funds. That funding ceased this year. So prior to this year, we would bring the funding amount and the funding formula to you for approval. We did not do that this year. That money was not received. So what I can do at the next board meeting is bring the last allocation and distribution so you can see which districts were affected and how much money that they were receiving.
So the thing that caught my attention, small rural schools, and I think you sort of just answered, there's a calculation of something that determines what is a small rural school. If I were to say, how many small rural schools do we have in the county? Do we have a general sense of, I know that may fluctuate some, but is it a constant, or does it change all the time?
Yeah, so that might be a different definition. I'd have to look into small rural schools definition. We have different criteria, different categories. That's just exactly which one that is.
Okay.
Nicole, do you know offhand what that might be referring to? So I can look into that, maybe just see exactly what information you got so I can pull up that exact title and make sure, we give you that classification.
And thank you so much. And thanks so much for asking the question, and we'll come back to you with more specificity. But I will say, I appreciate the fact that it really is different answer based on what question we're asking. So for example, when we talk about rural schools, I recall a couple of years ago, there was a change to high school start times. You couldn't start until after 8:30. Right. And they said, but if you're a small rural school, you can apply to not have that be your start time. And you could apply, and it wasn't based on a set criteria, that there isn't one there that is called, this is how you qualify for a small rural school. They said, you tell us if you're a small rural school. So that's why sometimes these definitions are a little bit shifty depending on what we're talking about specifically. So we want to go back to this one specifically, the rural school, small rural school, federal funding, look at the precise definition and tell you specifically how many of our schools actually fit under that definition. So we'll come back to that one. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
I can just piggyback on that. Off the top of your head, is it anything substantial in terms of the funding that isn't being given this year? Or
When if we're talking about the forest reserve funds, and again, this is that could be the same, it might be different, but when we're talking about the forest reserve funding, it's very, very small. And we bring that to the board and we would share that with you, the board, the calculation and where it goes. So I need to look back into that because I don't want to be conflating the forest reserve funds and the small rural funds.
I think like Leopold just said, 10 million seems like a lot of money until you have to divide it up amongst. And for some reason, I want to say it's $40 million to the state of California. Okay, how many, if it's small and rural, how many are those
Correct. Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
state?
great questions.
Yeah.
And we would love to come back and provide you with that update. So we can be specific and not guessing. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
No problem at all. Thank you. So our next item would be the consent agenda, but because we don't have a quorum, we're not able to do that, nor the action items. So the next portion of the agenda are the information items. So we had the personnel report, we had the Williams Uniform Complaints Quarterly Report. And so just want to see if there's any questions or comments on that, on those items. Okay, so then we would just have to move to our future agenda items. And there will be a presentation on human trafficking by the district attorney next month on our February 12th meeting. And our next meeting is going to be held in Santa Maria. Yay! So if there aren't any other questions or comments, then I can get a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll move.
And a second.
Sure, I'll second.
Okay. All right. Can we get a vote? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. Well then, meeting adjourned. Thank you.